Yes. Listener discretion advised. The content may be offensive. I am Domina Delapai, Mistress Sasha Storm, and today it's about travel and Black people. This is Pan-African experiences with travel, because Black people have been traveling from the beginning of time, and we've covered much ground and sea, and now we go by air. I often see of late, especially of late, I've observed that there are many African Americans and others who are traveling unlike anything that's ever happened. I mean, in these large numbers, commercial flights, and I mean, this COVID, I dare say that I'm somewhat secretly, low-key, happy about, even if I don't like the term lockdown, but I kind of love that the lockdown means that there's less travel and certainly less air travel, because in 2019, I remember I was trying to enjoy my backyard, my garden, and the flights were relentless. It's as though the planes were taking off from Pearson Airport. Like, it wasn't even a minute apart. It wasn't a minute. It didn't seem like a minute. They just kept going and going and going and going and going. And it was a ruckus, the noise. And I thought, what about apart from the sound pollution, the noise pollution, what about the air quality, emissions, jet fuel, and, this stuff in the atmosphere? What is it? How is it affecting me? And, they were giving us all the chemtrails and spraying and all the sorts. They just crazy and just careless and reckless with air traffic. And I wondered about my neighbors, and especially those, because I'm not that close to the airport. And I wondered about those who are closer to the airport. What kind of experience is that for them? Because the airport was sending planes out relentlessly. Like, it was crazy. It was so crazy that I recorded one day. I did over 24 hours of recording planes. At the time, I had Indian neighbors, many young males living next door, renting a house, and they were having parties. I mean, crazy loud parties with their music, and their music was drowned out by the sounds of the airplanes, because I was on the deck enjoying the Bhangra, enjoying the Punjabi music, loving it, and the planes just ruined it. And I was so angry. I remember I actually cursed. I said, I won't even repeat what I said, but I wanted it to stop. I said, this has to stop. They cannot continue to do this unchecked and without any consideration for the residents of the area. But who are the people traveling by plane? Many residents of the area and all areas, because it's all of you people. Here you come on social media and you're boasting. You're showing pictures and videos of your trips, and you're enjoying, you're living your best lives. Now, travel, see, I'm conflicted. I started traveling. I mean, I remember in high school I would hear the white kids talk about, as soon as they graduate, they will be going here and there and everywhere. And the first destination on their list was always Paris. They were all going to go to Paris. And many of them were going to be backpacking in Europe. And then college and university, there they were becoming, especially the queer ones, the LGBTQIA2SS, they were doing missionary work. They were going to Africa and helping those poor African. Yeah, they were there, Burkina Faso, and here and there, their footprint everywhere. And I started to travel, and I noticed that I didn't hear anybody's reaction as my reaction was, to observe and notice what few others seemed to notice, that no matter where we were in the world, Black people were treated less than we deserve. So in Germany, I was treated very well. I mean, I must say, they issued invitation, sent letter of invitation to make it easier for me to go through customs and the airports. It was a breeze. In fact, it was better than returning to what has been my home for decades, where they gave me such a hard time. At the airport here, at the time when I was traveling, because I had to stop traveling. I got so tired of being scrutinized. They wanted to look up my backside, and my travel companion was a German, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and he was whisked through. As soon as they saw the German passport, bam, you're okay. And then they would have exchange pleasantries, and he would be whisked off. And me, I was taken in and interrogated, right? So I saw the discrepancies. I saw the differences in the way we were treated, a white European male and me, a Black woman from, at the time, young woman from the small island, Caribbean. It was just so atrocious. I was so disgusted, and I just got fed up. And I just decided, because I started to grow my hair in locks. I started to lock my hair as I became more aware of myself, my identity, and I was embracing me and loving me more and more, which meant that I had to stop processing my hair with chemicals. I stopped relaxing my hair. I stopped applying sodium hydroxide and trying to have my hair look like a white girl hair or some Asian girl hair, and curling iron and blow drying, and my hair being always like split ends, because that's just too much damage in trying to achieve those hairstyles. So I got braids with these extensions. I never had this my whole life, and I decided to let me try that. But I didn't like the appearance because it was done with this synthetic hair, and I didn't like that look, because it was fake to me. Because at the root, my hair was very different texture, which is how I don't understand how so many Black females, I'm going to call them females because they're not women if they cannot embrace their roots, that they have to get hair is their texture growing from their root, and then they're adding to it a very different texture, even if it's artificial, superficial, synthetic, fake. That's what they want. They'd rather have that than their own. So when in Germany, for instance, on the River Elbe, there were Nazi skinheads. That's the Nazi skinheads before they became police officers. They were the skinheads, and until Tom Metzger, big white supremacist in the U.S., he recruited many of them, and he actually announced on television, Phil Donahue and Oprah Winfrey. He appeared on those programs, and he said that his plan of action was to infiltrate law enforcement agencies throughout the U.S. and to place his skinheads, because at the time the skinheads were like brawling, like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. So Antifa has been around for decades. Antifa have been around, and Black Lives Matter as well. they've been fighting these white supremacist groups in the streets right here in Toronto. Before I realized how it just wasn't what I expected the movement to be about. They were focused on hatred for the other side, and then I see this on TV being broadcast. A white supremacist is given license to basically tell the world his plan and his course of action, which was to recruit skinheads because they had a lot of support from the white people. But then on the other hand, the white people who supported the racism, they didn't like the appearance of skinheads with their shaved heads and their Doc Marten boots, brawling in the streets like gangsters, like thugs. That's what they are, and they were. And so this is when the queer anti-racists started fighting them, and it was a real battle. But somewhere along the way, politicians got involved, and it's like they morphed and they play these games like they're acting, or they'll adopt the appearance of the other and go into battle, kind of doing that subversive action whereby they are really not representing themselves but the other side, which has people watching on the news. All they see is what they perceive to be one side battling the other side. It's a lot more complicated than that. But he said that because he said they would receive a lot more support from the white community. That was Tom Metzger. He passed away recently, by the way. I think it was it November 2020 he passed away. It's interesting because I actually learned about it because of a mule latte, a mixed race, black and white person from England. Looks like he worshipped this guy, and looks like a lot of these black males who are into the Satanism and the occult, they worship the Lucifer, and they try to act like it's a joke. Everything is a joke to them. All these kinds of people nowadays, right? They're so misguided. They are so lost. But they have really high opinion of themselves, the males especially. So there are guys with mixed race backgrounds who are worshiping white supremacists. Much like in the Proud Boys, you have one of the honchos is a Latino, an Afro-Latino. And one of the Proud Boys, as white as can be, he is involved with, I don't know if it's his wife or his girlfriend, but he's with a black woman, and they have a child together. So like they're muddying the waters, and I don't know what to believe anymore. But all I know is Tom Metzger announced that he was going to take his skinheads off the streets. He was gonna have them grow their hair and wear suits and ties, or military uniforms, or police uniforms, whatever, Air Force, Marines, and they were going to infiltrate offices and the corporate world, and military, police, law enforcement agencies across the US would be basically manned by these former Nazi skinheads. And not only did he announce that, and I will never forget that, but as recently as like a few years ago, the FBI came and put it out, news flash. Law enforcement agencies across the US have been infiltrated by white supremacists. So your average cop was a KKK OP. It was a cop with triple K. And this was announced, and I don't know, black people are weird. Every time I would keep repeating that. It's like they want to hear what they want to hear, and they only want to hear what the white announcer or some announcer that they approve of in their mainstream media is telling them But from someone like me, it's just dismissed. It's not taken seriously. This is serious stuff. So I just read where an African, I saw a video by this Umar Johnson, and he was talking about how much travel he's done. And I started to think, wow, the amount of places that Umar has claimed to have visited, that's like a lot of travel, air travel, flights. And I think how much Umar Johnson has polluted our planet with all this jet fuel. He's flying here, flying there, flying there. That costs a lot of money. Where is Umar getting this money from to be traveling like that? And how is that helping black people? Because he's going to places, like for instance, someone asked him, an African woman living in Belgium raising 2 boys, she is asking him to please talk to my sons. I am raising my 2 African sons in Belgium, and they don't listen to me when I try to warn them. You know, they don't understand the complexities of this racial issue. Now, I'm thinking, did you not know the history of Belgium in Africa before you decided to go there and raise children, black children there? King Leopold of Belgium, what he did to those people, amputating, chopping off their hands and arms and feet and legs and making them cripples, crippling them. That is a clear demonstration of hatred, racial hatred, a superiority complex that says, in your own lands, I'm gonna slaughter you. And for you to decide to go to that place to live and raise black African children, and now you're begging an African American to help you because your black African boys in Belgium think they're white. They're in for a rude awakening. I said when I went to Germany, I wondered how many of the black people are paying attention to the news like I was when I heard that a tanker on the river Elbe was being firebombed by the same Nazi skinheads. They were firebombing these poor people on a tanker on their river. That's racial hatred. And all of you black people boasting, showing off, oh, you're in France, you're in Italy, you're in Portugal. Are you aware of how racist those people are? You love Spain, you love, and you into their freaking football, also known as soccer. Your favorite sports teams are theirs. Liverpool, you know. I mean, come on. Why are you not thinking more critically? Why are you trying so hard to blend in? Because no matter what, yes, there are white people who are okay, who are cool. At the end of the day, they're still white people. And they will enjoy and maintain their privilege while you continue to lack. And in 2021, we're having this conversation. It's so sad. So you black people, you're going and traveling, you're giving money to the airlines. They're not black owned. You're going to Dubai. When I see a black person, especially an African, talk about their trip to Dubai, you should see how the other black people are like, they're like, once I heard of Dubai, I'm like, ew, that's an artificial place. That is a place where a lot of environmental pollution is occurring. For you to have, a ski slope in the desert, you know, to build in it's like you're defying nature just so you can have your pleasure from what? You taking resources from the planet and using those resources to decimate us, you know, to pollute, to do so much environmental damage. Nobody thinks about any of that. All they think about is their pleasure, their instant gratification. They are flying to Rio. All of the black men going to Brazil because, you know, the women have the best ass. Never mind that their ass is surgically enhanced. And many of them get in a lot of trouble because of having a big booty, because the dumb black male said booty, 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 booty rocking everywhere. So you have African Americans going to Turkey Turkey, they cannot even speak the language. They cannot understand what they're reading. But they see the Turkish cosmetics surgeons are targeting African American women and black women in general with their ads. So, they'll go to Mexico, they'll go to Turkey, they'll go here, there, because they want, like a Brazilian butt lift, but maybe a cheaper version. And that's how they're ending up with these botched jobs. So you guys are traveling, and what is all this traveling doing for you, for me, for us, for black people? Like I said, after, I was supposed to live in Germany. I had a fiance, we were, and his family was like, Adela, you spend so much money on long distance calls. That was before WhatsApp. And why don't you save that money and just get a plane ticket? You could have been here so many times, because of these phone calls, very long distance, very, very high price, very expensive. And he was calling me too. But when you're talking to the love of your life, you're on the phone, you lose track of time. Next thing you know, oh my gosh, this call cost as much as my rent. Crazy. But I didn't want to be in Germany when I had one experience that taught me that, the people who are hosting me, the people I'm being exposed to and involved with, they are top notch. They are classy. They're great people. They're wonderful people. But unfortunately, there are other Germans who are not. They're racist Germans. Do I want to leave Canada, where we have enough racism as it is, to go to a place like Germany? To me, it would be multiplied. It would be worse, because I'm more familiar with Canada. I've been here long enough, and I could stand up and defend myself against any kind of racial attack. But how would I manage that in Germany if I had to deal with that? But most black people don't think about those things. They'll maybe grumble that something happened, or but they won't really consider, is that a good thing for you to be there? Is your life really, is the quality of your life up to par, up to snuff? Is it good for you to be in a foreign land, being treated like you're lesser than? Is it really? And you feeling like on top of the world when you go to these resorts, or you go to these foreign places, and you are in the hotel living the life, your best life. You're sharing with us. Look at you here and look at you there. You are in the water, on the beach, in a high-rise hotel. You just, bottles, popping bottles. And how do you feel? Seeing the workers, the staff, the ones who are serving you, they are always black and brown or Filipino. And you don't question that. You enable and accept it. Many people go to Thailand. They are molesting children. It's an industry. I would be ashamed to say that I went to Thailand more than once. Because if you go to Thailand once, you can clearly see all that is happening that should not be. And you must not choose to contribute to that. The exploitation of little boys and girls by sex travelers and sex traffickers. It's just all linked. And for some strange reason, I think too many of you are choosing to ignore. So Black Lives Matter, they're not really fighting for our black lives in general. It's specifically LGBTQ, the alphabet community's black lives, like transgender and dykes, lesbians, and gay men. That's who they are for. And when they do the odd black man who supposedly cis or straight or heterosexual, that is for show. That's why you will find it on the TV. All the news programs, here they are again and again and again. But what about, because it's not just one black life for that day. So why is it focused for weeks and months on that one black life? Only that one black, like let's use George Floyd as an example. George Floyd was filmed it almost looks staged, and I have heard that it was not even real. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a storyteller. I'm telling stories, things I've heard and seen, and I'm repeating. So, George Floyd event appeared to be unreal. And yet, the entire world was up in arms about that. But what about the rest of the black people who are losing their lives? You know, we don't even see them on TV. We don't see them or hear about them in the news. But as I was saying, Tom Metzger passed away, but he has a son, and his son has children. And that's how they pass it down. It doesn't just end. And brawling in the streets, to me, because it's too easy for people to pretend to be one group. That's how they do wars. These same people are having wars that they start, they plan, they set up, and they're funding both sides of the war instead of, for instance, providing safe drinking water to particular communities. So I don't know, traveling, what benefit is your travel doing, not only to the planet, to our environment, but to black people, black communities, black countries? You see, I'm not impressed when I hear about you traveling and I see you partying, and you basically travel to party and shop. I saw an African American woman had come from Africa, and don't ask me which nation, which country in Africa, because I don't remember. But she brought back like 7 suitcases that I could see, all filled with treasure, mostly fashion, skirts, dresses, tops, you know, Afrocentric, which is good and nice. It's nice and good. Yeah. Because that girl was wearing these pants from Africa, looked a million times better than the blue jeans that she just took off. And you all are not even considering that. You look so beautiful in African or indigenous, you know, in the Caribbean. We have our own, we have our carnival costume. We have this wobdouillet, which is a style of fashion that is from times of slavery, where the Creole women and men would dance. They would have their, I don't know if it was their carnival time, and they do cultural dance. And they always look so distinguished and so beautiful. My friends in Nigeria and in Ghana, in Kenya, they wear their, you know, even South Africa, South African, I see the girls, oh my goodness, that is something else. But they're dressing for their king, I guess, who is a pervert and a pedophile pervert. So it's girls who are topless and with very little on the bottom, practically naked. That's an odd thing too. So yeah, I decided to stop traveling because coming back from my travels, I have to go through the airport in Canada, and I've been living in Canada for decades, and the people employed at the airport with a Spanish-speaking background, so like what they call Latinos, Latinas, the Latinos, they were so nasty and rude and impertinent, and they judge me like the police will, you see. They were behaving as though they expected me to have drugs in every part of my body. They searched and searched and searched, and the indignity I felt, you know, bend down and spread your legs, and what the hell is this? No. I will not subject myself to that. And I know the reason was I had started growing my locks. Instead of getting my hair rebraided, I started to twist at the roots, and that's how I started my dreadlocks. And then when it reached a certain length, then I cut the dead hair out. I cut out the extensions, and that's how I started my locks many moons ago. I said that I'm making a statement with my hair that I love and embrace and approve of myself just as I am naturally. This is how my hair grows. I'm not going to use a hot comb and straighten my hair and burn my ears and burn my neck and burn my scalp and burn my hair. I'm not going to take sodium hydroxide and apply to my scalp and burn my scalp and burn my hair. And then I have to maintain a style that requires that I put curlers, blow dryers, curling irons. All this heat, application of heat is not good for our hair. I got tired of split ends, dry ends. So, locks it is. Now my locks are down to my backside. I'm considering it's time to cut some of it. But I am in tune to my nature and my roots. And I really wish that more Black people would be as observant and just have the ability to think. I think that's one of the biggest problems with Black people. They are so, I think, feel so downtrodden that they have to like pretend, showing the world they are drinking wine and champagne and dining here and there and in the penthouse, and look at my hotel room, look at the views, and look at this, and look at me, I'm traveling, I'm spending money and enriching the accounts, the pockets, the wallets of those people who hate us, don't like us. They tolerate us because we enrich their lives in various ways. And look how quick and easy it is for Black people to throw money at non-Black business people. But if they try to do business with a Black person, everything costs too much. They want a discount. They want it free. It makes absolutely no sense. And that's one of the reasons why they continue to laugh at you, to ridicule you, and to treat you less than you deserve, because you accept that. You create that experience, you create that environment, you make the world as it is because you're refusing to embrace yourselves. You don't love yourselves enough, Black people. All these Black males knocking Black women over to go chase after some bottom of the barrel non-Black female who ends up, these relationships don't really last. They don't. But while they are, in the honeymoon stage, look at the Black guy show off and talk down to Black women and think he's something. But he didn't check the background of the girl, or did he? And even if she is the bottom of the barrel, he still hold her up to the light and polish her off and thinks that she is still superior to a Black woman, and certainly superior to him. And many of the, especially Asian and Caucasian, they will remind you, Black males, of your lowly status. I saw it with the strippers at the strip club. The Asian girls were teaching the white girls how to handle the Black guys, because Black guys don't stay away from, I told you, bottom of the barrel. I'm sorry, that's what I saw. That's what they were. And because I'll tell you how I know that too. Not one of those strippers was out to their family. Their families don't know that they are stripping. Their families don't know that they are whoring, they are hooking, they are prostituting. The families don't know. They are not proud of it. They might come on social media and talk about, I'm a hoe. They're not proud. Which is why I would say 98% of them, because there are those who don't, but most of them are intoxicated, drunk, high, snorting coke, smoking weed, crystal, they're doing crack, they're doing, you name it, pills, they're doing it. And they get so wasted because they cannot be sober and do this work. But that's what the Black males are, scraping the bottom of the barrel. So, we're a mess, and we're going to continue to. I stopped traveling because I didn't want to deal with these stupid Latinos at the airport giving me a hard time, acting like I'm some kind of drug runner, drug dealer. I don't do drugs, okay? Okay, hear that? I don't do drugs. I don't like drugs. And if I drink, I have one, maybe 2 drinks maximum. I'm a joker smoker. I can't smoke because I don't have the capacity. I don't have the tolerance that you do, because you guys do this so regularly and I've done it for so long. You've done it since you were like 12 and 13 in many cases. No, not me. Not me. I live differently, and I see the way you live, and it's not good. It's not good. It doesn't benefit you, and it does not benefit black people. So I just want you to be aware when you decide you're going to be traveling, where are you traveling to, how and why, and whose lives do you enrich by these expenditures? The airline, the taxi to and from the airport, or Uber, blah, blah, blah. Who are your drivers? When you go to the restaurant to eat, who owns the restaurants? The Asians, the Chinese especially, not just the Chinese, but they don't like you. They don't like you. But they smile, that fake little smile. Sometimes they don't even bother smiling. Just give me the money. They just want your money, and okay, bye. So, yeah, many of you traveling and boasting about your travels, but I urge you when you travel to be aware and stop being so in a state that you're so high that you lose track of what is really going on in the background, because it affects us, and you continue to enrich those people, and they continue to keep us impoverished. Well, not me. I ain't impoverished, okay? I choose not to live this kind of life. I shop for what I want and need. I'm not out there shopping. So many of you online I know this, oh my God, I know black women who are like always getting items shipped from China. Why? Because it's cheap. Well, that's it. You're cheap. You're not even getting quality. And then there are those of you who are not cheap, but you're buying designer labels from Italy, from France, from, you're getting, they don't like you either. They don't like you. No matter how much of their stuff you wear. In fact, they can't stand seeing you wearing their stuff. But hey, you're enriching their lives. So it's okay. But just be mindful. Be mindful. There was years ago a woman from Belgium. She was online. And she had so many African followers. They call her mom, because they think she's going to send them money and stuff, right? But she's poor. She was from Belgium and she moved to the US, and she only went out with black guys and Latinos. She ended up with a Latino because the black guys she was getting, they just weren't cutting it for her. And they couldn't even see that. They were like worshiping her, practically licking her backside through the freaking computer, laptop, their phone. Most of them have phones. And man, I was like, what is this with this woman? You could see like where she lives, like there's nothing much going on there. Like she's poor. But it didn't matter to them. She was white. She was from Belgium, and they put her on a pedestal. It's so sad to see. It's so sad to see. Hey, I'm not diminished by that. But I observe, and I will speak truthfully on the matter, how absurd it is that the black male, I say maybe black women, you need to watch it. Stop procreating for a while. Let 10 years go by and learn and absorb and, ascend, so that when you give birth, you know how to teach your boys to be men and not to be, as they have been demonstrating, that they are just boys, like horny boys chasing pussy, and not even good pussy, any pussy. That's how I've heard some of them say, yeah, there was an odor, she stank, but I just put my head to the side and I hit it. Like it is. So what are they? They're low lives too, right? So don't you want to have better sons than that's what's out there? Guys who are like beating up women, and why? Because they're frustrated, because they are not developed, and they won't develop as long as first thing they get some money, they gotta get some drugs, they gotta get their bottle of Hennessy and show the world, look, I'm drinking Henny. You guys are silly. You find out who owns those companies and see how much they like you. They don't like you. So whatever. Anyway, I'm Domina Della Pie, Mistress Sasha Storm. Thank you. Good night. And I think I'm supposed to say, oh yes, please like and subscribe. I never said that before. This is my first time. Supposedly you have to say this in the beginning of the recording, but hey, I do it my way.